is not a success, it is a failure.
The Honourable Tau Henare.
Mr Speaker, it would be churlish of me not to congratulate the new Speaker. So I will congratulate the new Speaker on taking my job. Mr Speaker, I'm sure that the new Speaker will do a fantastic job. He's been in the job really only one day, and already he's making his mark on the House. Mr Speaker, I want to cut to the chase. In 2014, this country goes to a general election. And from an article today where a member of this House is quoted as saying, "I will not stand by while his daughter's rights and freedoms of other New Zealanders and Westerners are denigrated by a sorry pack of misogynist troglodytes from Wagistan." That's what one of these MPs said today, Mr Speaker. It is disgraceful, it is shameful, it is racist, and I have never ever heard something worse than that out of the mouth of one of the MPs in my time in the House. Yes, we've come close to it, I'll own up to that, but never ever have we come even on the verge of being a racist. And I want to say this and put out I suppose a challenge to everybody in this House, that not only do they say they dislike or they are ashamed of that sort of talk, but that they would distance their party in being in a coalition with that member's party. I know for a fact that sort of language wouldn't come out of the mouth of members of New Zealand First, except for one, and he's done it before, so it's no surprise. It would have been a surprise if Andrew Williams had have said that. It would have been a surprise if somebody else would have said that. But Richard Prosser, I'm sorry to say, Mr Speaker, you know, there is a price to pay for living in paradise, Mr Speaker, and but it's not in a paradise if the government is going to be Labour, Green and New Zealand First. So I call on the Green Party and the Labour Party to distance itself now from being in a coalition with a member who thinks and actually speaks like that in public.
They won't.
I don't know whether they will or not. You know, Mr Speaker, in something like 22 months' time, we do go to the election, and all we can hear from the pretenders, and in saying this, I most probably put some of my colleagues off me, well, maybe more colleagues off me, Mr Speaker. But at least the Greens actually believe in what they say. And they come to this House, with a purpose, to see a whole lot of changes that they talk about incessantly. And I know it upsets us about that. But I kind of like that. On the other hand, no, they won't have me. On the other hand, we have the New Zealand Labour Party, Mr Speaker. And all we get from the Labour Party and from Trevor Mallard is, quote, he says, he said, Mr Farfoy says, well, here it is in black and white for Mr Farfoy from Porirua. Stop thrashing dead horse and work on imaginative tools appropriate for New Zealand. I haven't heard something more better than that from Russell Norman. It is about finding the tools appropriate for New Zealand. And all Mr Mallard can come back, you know, and say, well, I don't want to go there. You know, see, what we're seeing is a party bereft. I mean the New Zealand Labour Party, not attacking the Green Party, because they believe in the stuff that they trot out. Mr. Speaker, but I want to talk about housing just for a minute, Mr. Speaker. The Labour Party, New Zealand Labour Party, have promised us 300,000 homes? Or is it 100,000 homes? 100,000 homes at under $300,000 each over 10 years. Did you hear that? It was very quiet. It was very quiet. Roughly. It was roughly $300,000. Well, here's the thing. I was born and bred in Otara. And for those in Otara, and for those in Porirua, and Freeman's Bay, Kaiti, Tikipunga, well, I don't know. I live in the peninsula. I'm not looking for a home in Freeman's Bay at the moment. Mr. Speaker, here's the thing. If you want people to live in houses that are purchased or valued at under 300k a year, then all you're going to do is build more slums and ghettos and poor neighbourhoods like the one that I was brought up in. Because all the houses were the same. They were all the same. Little boxes made of ticky-tack. And while it suited the Labour Party to have those policies, and while it suited my mother and father bringing up 4 children, and while it suited my neighbours to do the same, Mr. Speaker, all it did was push the problem into one area. And now why do you think that South Auckland is a bit of a mess? Why do you think, Mr. Speaker? No, sorry. I'm not going to listen to it anymore. I'm not listening to it anymore. Because here's the thing, Mr. Speaker. One person from the Labour Party actually comes out of Otara, and that's William Seal. In fact, him and I were in the same class. Admittedly, I was a year in front of him, and that was second year, fifth. But Mr. Speaker, here's the rub. Here's the rub. These people over there talk on behalf of the poor and the downtrodden. What a load of rubbish, Mr. Speaker. What a load of rubbish. They should try and be downtrodden, try and be underprivileged for a change, Mr. Speaker. All these people across the way have gone to university and gone straight from university into a job, that's right, as a member of Parliament, Mr. Speaker. And if they did have a job beforehand, it was with the unions. Yeah. It was with the unions, Mr. Chair. I did it differently. I went from the unions to the National Party, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, in the 2 minutes that I've got left, Mr. Speaker, I have immense faith, Mr. Speaker, in the Honourable Dr. Nick Smith as the new Minister of Housing. Because in his mind, there are ways and means of making housing affordable. And I hope that one of my ideas gets a bit of a run. And that is that, in the old days, in my mother and father's day, sir, it was easy for them to actually put a dwelling on the back of their property and have that dwelling for themselves, no cross-leasing fees, no development fund for a developer, and certainly no RMA to get in the way. And you're not allowed to do that these days. At least $100,000 more to do it, to cross-lease and to build infill housing. Well, we all can't have a 10-acre lifestyle block, Mr. Andrew Williams, full of lemon trees. We can't have that, Mr. Speaker. But the fact is that there are things that we can do to make it better for young people to get their dream home, especially in Te Aratū Peninsula. Kia ora. Just like Phil Twyford.